Jay right in your face.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Fady. I got my boy Zaed here with me. We're brought to you by the Ball is Life Podcast Network. As you can see, Mike's back in hand.
Yes, they're back. No more hands-free.
Little less comfortable, but our Spotify and Apple Music listeners are probably thanking us immensely for this shift.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't as great as we usually put out.
Yeah, that's what it is for me. It's like
Yeah.
when you're so used to putting out a certain level and then you have to like not do it anymore.
You get
like,
upset.
oh my gosh.
You get upset.
Yeah.
We can't be releasing this stuff.
You can't do that. But it's also the playoffs. We can't afford to not come at the people, let them know what we think.
Right.
Somebody decided to poke the bear before we went live on air.
You've been poked, bro.
I think I just want to get started right away. And the first thing I want to talk about is all defensive teams.
Yes.
That was really the first thing that just released like not even 30 minutes before we started recording.
Right.
So let me preface this by saying I did say, and I do believe it, honestly, that OG Anunoby's the top 3 wing defender in the league.
Right.
I said that before the year started, and I thought that he deserved all defense. He did miss a lot of games. He did miss a lot of games for sure. So I do understand that aspect of it. But let's just go through these selections and just kind of go through it. So we'll do the second team first.
Right.
So the second team, we have Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard. All seems pretty reasonable names, right?
Yeah.
Bam Adebayo, Jimmy, Joel, Kawhi,
yeah.
and then Matisse Thabuli.
Come on, you know the name.
Thabuli. Matisse Thabuli, bro.
Matisse Thabuli.
Matisse Thybulle makes it into the second team all defense.
Right.
In his second year, you're playing with Ben Simmons, who is tied for all defensive first team votes and was second place in all defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
And you have Joel Embiid anchoring your defense, who's second team all defense. And honestly, had he not been injured, he would have for sure been first team all defense. He was, they were talking about him for potential defensive player of the year.
Right.
So all of that being said, and on top of that, I want to check his minutes played because off air somebody told me the number, and I don't know if that number is legit.
Who was it?
It was Tom.
It was Tom.
Because honestly, he was saying he plays around 20 minutes a game, and if that's true, I'm gonna lose my mind. So let's pull it up. Matisse Thybulle here,
20 flat.
20.0 minutes per game. That is less than half of a basketball game.
Right.
And he is on the second team all defense somehow, some way.
Yeah.
That's a joke to me.
Okay.
If you're you want to say OG missed a lot of games, didn't play.
With that.
I get it. You brought up a name off air, a guy who's still in the playoffs right now, a guy who's still playing lockdown defense right now.
Right.
And Mikal Bridges. Matisse Thabule, bro. You need to tell me. You need to walk me off this ledge, bro. Like, what does this mean, bro? What does this mean?
No, I don't really understand that. I think that's another one of those spoken into existence kind of awards or whatever it is. I think a lot of people, especially in the Sixers, spoke Matisse's defense into existence, and not that he's a poor defender, but to be top 10 defender in the league. I think that's a bit premature for him, and he's only playing, like you said, he's only playing 20 minutes. You're not even playing the majority of the game. Like if you really want to put this guy as a top 10 defender, this guy has to be able to play the majority of the game and guard the majority of the game. So to put him up there is mad premature for him. He's got a great.
Does he even start?
I
don't think he does.
Think he even starts most of the games either. So.
Yep, he played 65 games, started 8 of them. This is a guy who 20 minutes off the bench.
Oh my
playing
God.
with the 2 best defenders.
How did they not put another name in there? Anybody?
That's a joke.
Anybody else? Mikal Bridges, we know has been a good defender. Is a good defender. Plays for a great team. Primary role is to defend perimeter players, knock down threes, make buckets when he needs to. So definitely that's one name that could have been thrown into the mix. It's just kind of shocking that they did that. I thought, he
got 20 more votes than Kawhi Leonard.
Matisse?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Total points, 63 to 43.
Who's voting on these things?
Apparently, Alex Caruso caught a first-team vote, too.
Why?
You have the list, right?
I have the list up right now. So Mikal Bridges had 39 points. Marcus Smart, 22 points. Dort has 17 points. I mean, Dort we know is a quality defender. Chris Paul, who's also a quality defender, only had 14 total points. Yeah, 14 total points. Alex Caruso with 5 points. I don't know why he got votes. KCP, I don't really know why he got votes. DJ McConnell, he's a pass. He's a pest. Okay, I can see why he got votes. Dennis Schroeder, I don't understand.
He got a first team vote, man.
He got a first team vote somehow. Dylan Brooks, honestly, I'm sure he got those votes from the playoff series. That's where it was really highlighted. I think he flew under the radar for the majority of the season. He's another guy that, you can put his name in the mix a bit. Jaylen Brown got some votes. Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Russell Westbrook. But I think,
Donovan Mitchell got all defense votes?
Yeah, he got one. He got one second team.
Does he even play
crazy.
defense?
Not
that he can't, but
nothing crazy. But the first three names I think are really good quality names that you can really put above Matisse Thybulle. And actually the first four names, Mikal Bridges, Marcus Smart, Dort, and Chris Paul are all guys I think I would take over Matisse Thybulle and second team all defense. A bit shocking that he got it. I don't know how that even happened. Like, he doesn't even start. He doesn't even play the majority of the game. It doesn't make sense. But it is what it is. I think the NBA every single year has to include someone or some sort of, snub or shaft or whatever you want to call it, so that people can talk about it. Mm-hmm. The first team all defense. I wasn't mad at any of the names on there.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it at all.
I do think that this Draymond Green thing needs to stop. Like, what are we rewarding at this point? Who are you stopping?
It's consolation award at this point. It's like, listen, this is your reputation as a good defender. You speak about always being a good defender. You anchor your team's defense. You're known to anchor your team's defense.
How can we in the same breath say Steph Curry can win MVP because they don't win enough games? But then when it comes to the defensive side, it's like, yeah, you're first team all defense.
No,
but it's like, you're not even winning enough games to get to the playoffs. So what are you
defending? What are you defending?
Who are you stopping?
I agree with that to a certain extent. I don't think you should have got first team. First team is a bit too high. I would be okay if you got the second team.
Third overall votes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would be okay if you got second team. Being the bottom 5 of a top 10 is different than being the top 5. It just puts you on a whole nother level. Draymond has a big mouth, and I think that's his best defense, and that's why he gets in every single year.
Like, here's one that kind of bothers me too. Utah had a top 5 defense in the league. They have one guy in both teams. Philly has 3.
Yeah.
Milwaukee has 2.
Yeah.
Miami has 2. A first round sweep has 2.
And these are all the analytics guys voting. These are all the media guys voting. They know the numbers. They should know what teams have great defenders, what teams play good defense. And it seems like every single year, it's the same idea as Marcus Gasol getting Defensive Player of the Year by getting a second team all defense. These things just don't align, and the NBA needs to find some sort of like system or some sort of process to make these things align more, because this is kind of like one of those stupid examples of Marcus Gasol getting second team all defense by getting Defensive Player of the Year. These things just, and these trends and these numbers and these analytics, they don't make sense to what's actually happening.
And another thing too, when it comes down to Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert had double the votes as Ben Simmons, but they have the exact same votes for first team all defense.
But is that the maximum amount of votes you can have? That might be the max. That's why they have the same amount.
Is there such thing?
I feel like there is some sort of max.
I don't know.
Both at 200, it looks like.
Honestly, at the end of the day, we know Ben and Rudy should be up there. I think Utah maybe should get one more guy.
Who are you putting from Utah on there? Mike Conley? Who are you going to put on there? Not that he's a port. He's a
Royce O'Neal.
Royce O'Neal, top first team.
He's the Mikal Bridges of that 10. Team.
First team?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about first team, but
better
than Tabuli. Better than Tabuli.
You're sticking to that name forever. That's a great one.
Of course, man.
Definitely, there's a lot more names that you can throw in the mix. Thybulle, I don't think anybody's opposed to him not being on that list. Another one of those NBA lists that are very interesting. But moving on from first team all defense, I think all the awards have been announced now. If we could just keep up, we'll stick to the awards. Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year, no shocker there. Kind of weird how they announced MVP first and then Defensive Player of the Year after. I thought
they were gonna wait till after the year.
I think because of COVID, maybe they're not gonna do that thing anymore. But I feel like you should lead up to MVP. I think that's like the pinnacle of the awards. Nobody cares about Defensive Player of the Year in general. So
leaks have gone away. Like leaks used to be fun, but now you're ruining awards.
Legit.
It's like, bro, why are you leaking the award, man?
Yeah. So those I think were the 2 awards. I think we maybe already discussed. Six man was Jordan Clarkson. There was no doubt about that. Coach of the Year.
Did we discuss
We
that?
discussed. I don't know if we discussed it. I think we discussed it after. I think it was after last week's episode. We had saw it.
That's another one of those things.
And that's another one of those things that sounds about right. But although my vote was for Tom Thibodeau and he ended up getting it, I do think Monty was shafted.
Bro, he got more first place votes.
And shafted by far. What Monty's been able to do with that team, playoffs aside, obviously the playoffs has been great, but you're second in the West. You got a team.
They're in the conference final.
They're in the conference final right now. Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah,
what is that?
Heck, I'd even put Jay Crowder's second team all defense over Tabuli.
You're going
now that we're talking about it, but
a bit of a confusing awards season, I guess you can call it. Some were obvious, some were, Jokic got MVP, well deserved. That was our vote.
Yeah, I just think that if in any competition ever in life, if you get more first place votes than somebody, but your third place tally is valued at higher, you should never win. You should never win something that you didn't win first place votes in. Like, it makes no sense to me that the man won more first place votes, but then everyone forgot about him and they gave him third place votes instead of second place votes. Like, how does that work? You got more first place votes. That's it.
You win.
It's over.
You win it.
You get first.
Yeah.
You get second. Like, I don't understand this. Oh, but the points they tally. Well, you taking the third place votes in the. Shut up, bro. I don't want to hear your rationale.
What they should do is just vote top 10. Where should this person belong? First team? No. Second team? Okay, that's it. There's no multiple votes for multiple teams or whatever.
The media has too much power in these awards. And
it does.
I mean, it's weird, but Monty Williams deserved it, and I mean, Phoenix is still in it. And like we said a little bit earlier, they just finished their 4-game sweep of the MVP.
Oh my sheesh.
Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. Now, I want to say that as impressive as this is on Phoenix, like, how bad do you feel as Portland that you couldn't even take this team to 7 games and Phoenix just destroyed these guys with a bunch of youngins?
Man, but Phoenix is just, I think, still a bit underrated in the sense of how they play together. And, you underrate
Monty Williams.
You underrate Monty Williams. You underrate, I think people underrate also Chris Paul's effect on the team. And just this team looks like it's more than just like X's and O's, basketball talent, whatever. Like, they look like they're firing on all cylinders. You don't have those CJ McCollum Dame moments where you're kind of not fighting between who's taking the ball up or who's scoring, who's shooting, but there is a bit of gray area in that sense. Everyone knows on this Phoenix team what the role is, what they have to do. D-Book, he's a bucket. Aiden has been killing it. Chris Paul has been a great leader and comes through and comes through in moments where he needs to come through. Mikal Bridges defends when he needs to and shoots and scores when he needs to. Jay Crowder is on the same. Šarić does the same. Everybody does their job and does it so well on that team, and it looks like they just can't be beat. Obviously, they couldn't be beat by the Nuggets, but it's for Portland. It proves that they have a long way to go. And for the Denver Nuggets, it sucked for them to lose Jamal Murray. I don't know. I think Jamal Murray would have extended it to 6, but I don't think they would have gotten the victory.
Look, you need to also look at it on the other end as well, where it's going to be harder for Devin Booker to do Devin Booker things when Jamal Murray is on the court. It was the same thing that we saw with that first game, John Morant, Dylan Brooks against Utah before Donovan Mitchell came back, and they were able to get theirs. Like, they got their points, they were able to play free, and they won a game. Mm-hmm. When Donovan Mitchell's on the court, he demands attention. Jamal Murray demands attention, and Jamal Murray last year gave them a couple 50-point games in the playoffs, 40-point games, so he can score in high volumes. I don't know if, like, it could go either way. Mm-hmm. I just think that, like you said, Phoenix is so well prepared.
Yeah,
it seems like they were preparing from last year's bubble for this moment.
It's crazy.
For this playoff run. Yep. Because they're, like, when you look at everyone, like you said, the roles, when you look at the top 2 guys, right, Chris Paul and Devin Booker, both of them know their roles, but both of them also play very different roles.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, CJ, like you said, CJ and Dame, it's a little bit more gray area, right? But Chris Paul has been fantastic. I want to look at his numbers for this series, because he, in the elimination game last night, he put up I don't even know what his.
I have his
game was
numbers
last
in
time.
this series.
But in the series, 25.5 points a game, which by the way is actually more than D-Book, who was 25.3. So 25.5 with 10.3 assists. Okay, he had 5 turnovers in 4 total games.
He shot 75% from
three, 63% from the field, 100% from the free throw line.
He didn't miss.
As a team, Phoenix shot 52, 43, 89.8. So I'm going to round that up to 90.
You're going to give him the 90. Give him the 90.
89.8?
Give him the 90. That's Fady approved
52,
right there,
43, 90 as a roster in a 4-game sweep against the MVP.
They were firing on all cylinders, man. It was beautiful to watch. And it's like, this is how basketball should be played when you look at it.
Let me read this to you. Jay Crowder, 55% from 3. Torrey Craig, 50% from 3. Dario Saric, 50% from 3.
Saric.
Cam Johnson, 42% from 3. And then these randoms. And then Chris Paul, 75. Devin Booker, 31, could be better. Mikal Bridges, 33, could be better.
Mm-hmm.
But as a team, 43% from the three-point line. Like,
you can't ask for any more than that, man.
and then you go on the other side, and they put up 35%, Denver, as a roster.
Right. Now,
Jokic, 28% from 3.
Yeah, he struggled from 3. Still was able to find his, though, and he was...
I think he, like, bro, after he got that award, I think he's like, yo.
Bun it. The season's done.
It's done, bro.
He averaged what?
You guys are scrubs.
He averaged 25, 13 rebounds, and just under 6 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, shot 28% from 3. Sorry, 47% from the field. He didn't have the greatest of series, but he did.
He was the best player.
He was the best player by far on this team. Denver was getting contributions from a bunch of guys on different nights, but it just didn't look like Denver had enough, and they didn't. Like, Phoenix was just so well prepared, so in sync. They played how basketball is supposed to be played, and it was beautiful to watch. And you know, despite Chris Paul taking over and dropping 37 in the elimination game, it didn't feel like it was all about Chris Paul. It didn't feel like it was just this guy going and giving them the win. It felt like it was a team effort. It felt like it was a team win. And now they're in the conference finals for the first time since 2010.
Mm-hmm. And they have some time to rest, which is key.
That's the Steve Nash era. So it's been that long. Great turnaround for the Suns. Like there's literally nothing bad you can say about them. Monty has gotten the most out of all of his guys, 1 through 15. Whoever plays, he knows what he's getting from them.
I think this is the year for them.
I'm very tempted.
This is Chris Paul's year.
I've seen what's happened on the East. We'll talk about what's happened on the East side. I'm very tempted to say it's their year. A lot more has to play out. And so let's move on to we'll keep on the West, to the Utah Jazz and the Los Angeles Clippers. Mm-hmm. Utah's currently up 2-1 in that series. Highlights of the series, Donovan Mitchell averaging, 40 a game? What it feels like to be 40 a game, but Donovan Mitchell basically not carrying, but acting and being a superstar. Mm-hmm. And
37.3 now.
There it is. 37.3 points a game. We're going to round up to 40 just for fun. In midseason, he was called out by Shaq. Some whack-ass crap that he said. He's like, oh, I don't think you're a star. Or I don't think you've got it, whatever. To average 37 points over the course of 3 games.
Against one of the better defensive teams in the league.
One of the better defensive teams in the league and 2 of the best perimeter defending wings in the NBA.
Allegedly.
Kawhi got the second team all defense. So he's got one of them there. So to be doing what he's been doing and to have his team up 2-1 is astounding. The Utah Jazz are a great team. They're built. They're another one of those teams that are well built. Before we move on to this one, I want to give a shout out to James Jones, the GM for the Suns, who built a great team. I don't think his name gets tossed in there enough. I don't know if the GM of the Year award was announced yet. I don't think it has been. It should be him. There's not even a question about it. But going back to this, Utah is kind of built the same way as Phoenix. They play team basketball. They play together. They have they have a star in Donovan Mitchell who carries the offensive load, but they've got other guys who can.
Mike Conley is
I
would say he's a star.
He's a star.
Donovan's pushing
aging.
superstar. At this point, he's playing like a superstar.
He's playing like a superstar. I'm going to give him that. What he's been doing this playoffs, he's been playing like a superstar. They've got all the pieces to fit. You know, when Bogey needs to defend, he'll defend. When Ingles needs to defend, he'll defend. They'll both shoot threes and both put the ball on the floor when they need to. Gobert obviously anchoring their defense. They've got a good team. It's just, I think what's gonna make the series is how the Clippers play. And if Paul George and if Kawhi, if they're going to stay on the same page, if they're going to stay on the same page and play together, I think they're going to take it at the end of the day. But if they can't, and they've proven and they've shown that they can't always play together, I think Utah has it in the bag. So I think it's dependent on the Clippers' play.
They had a huge game 3, so I'll go through the numbers for those two guys. They actually have identical stat lines down to the decimal. 26, 7.7, and 4.3. One thing that stands out to me is Paul George is shooting 46% from 3, whereas Kawhi is shooting 29.
Ooh.
But then you look at the field, Kawhi's at 52 and Paul George is at 41. So clearly, one is dominating the paint, the mid-range, and the other is dominating the three-point line, which is a great balance to have.
Right.
They had a huge third game, game 3. I think it was a 30-point shellac.
Yeah.
I was very surprised. I didn't expect it to be that bad. Paul George at 31 points, Kawhi at 34 and 12. So if those two guys can do that, because I think right now they're playing a little bit of everyone but Donovan can destroy. Donovan, you get yours.
Everybody else not.
No one else is, because they had a lot of guys that averaged over 17 points a game. Joe Ingles is under that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bogdanovich is under that right now. Gobert is under that right now. Jordan Clarkson's still putting up 19 off the bench. Royce O'Neal is not even putting up double digits. So these are all guys that had much better regular seasons.
Right.
If that's their game plan, I think it's a very smart game plan.
They're picking their battles. It is very smart.
Only if Kawhi and PG can continue to average 60 points between the two.
They have to.
That's really, like, if those two guys can play offensively the way that they are, and then they execute defensively in the way, like, Donovan, you want to get 40, 50? Go ahead.
Do it.
No problem. The other guys are the guys we're going to stop. If that's the plan, I think it can work. If that's not the plan, then it's going to be a weird series. I feel like it's just whoever has like a good game that night, whoever's feeling it that night. I thought after the first two games it was going to be completely Utah's side, and then they lost game 3. Game 4 is tonight. It's a huge game for both sides because
pivotal game.
It either goes 2-2 or 3-1,
right.
And you never ever want to go down 3-1. I'm going to go Clippers tonight just because I just think Kawhi is poised, and Kawhi plays like he has nothing to lose. Even when everything is on the wall and he's about to lose everything, he looks like he has nothing to lose.
He doesn't really have much to lose at this point.
He's playing very, very low pressure basketball right now, even though everyone is putting all the pressure on them.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I think I'm going to go with
Clippers tonight.
The Clippers. I think right now, Stephen A. Smith went crazy about Donovan Mitchell, called him the greatest Utah player in history, forgetting that Karl Malone second all time in scoring, John Stockton number 1 all time in assists.
Who are they, Donovan?
Right. He's had one playoff run, but that's fine. That's fine.
More than one, but he's got one superstar playoff run.
And then Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year, Jordan Clarkson, 6th man, Quinn Snyder being considered Coach of the Year, number 1 team. I think everything is at this point getting to their heads. And it's becoming a lot to deal with pressure-wise for the other guys. So we'll see how those guys play. It's obvious that Donovan Mitchell's here for the spotlight and he's going to play. Yeah. But, Rudy, we need more than 11 points, unfortunately. I mean, I know he's not there to score, but, I mean, Bogdanovich, we definitely need more than 14. If Clarkson's going to give us 18 points, almost 19 a game, Bogdanovich is going to give us about 18, 19 a game. So that's where I stand with that.
I think we're both in agreement that it all comes down to how Kawhi and PG play and if they play together. Mm-hmm. That's the way the series is going to go. If they don't play together, Clippers are very stoppable. They lost Serge to surgery. I don't remember what the injury is, but back, but he's out for this. He's out for the rest of the playoffs until next year. But it's just that's the way she goes. You know what I mean? It goes the way they go. So if they can't play together, they're going to be successful. I don't think they can play together 2 nights in a row. They probably did it. No, I mean,
I think they can.
They can.
And Paul George has had a very quiet, nice playoff run. It's not the greatest, but it's nice.
Nobody wants to give him any credit, which is fair because we expect a lot more out of PG. Mm-hmm.
He's playing well in this series.
It's. I don't want to bet against superstar caliber players.
Reggie Jackson's playing pretty well for them. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He has been. He's been picking up a lot actually for them this playoff season, this playoff run they've had. So I'm I'm going to go with Utah. I think Utah's going to go up 3-1. I think hopefully those other guys are going to learn from their mistakes. You change your game plan. You game plan for the Clippers' game plan as well. And you try to do better on Kawhi and Paul George. Once you get one of them off of their rhythm, I think you're good and you're in the clear. So I'm gonna go Jazz, and I think go up 3-1. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes. Let's move over to the East and discuss. So there's a game going on right now, Philadelphia and Atlanta, Game 4. Mm-hmm. Philly is now leading the series 2-1, which is interesting because Atlanta won the first game, and Atlanta had just come off a 5-game gentleman's sweep of the New York Knicks, and then they won the first game in Philly. Trae Young showed out, and then there were a lot of okay, is Trae the real deal? Is Atlanta going to make the conference final? Is Philly going to choke? Joel Embiid, is he going to da-da-da-da-da? And right on time, these guys turn it around, win 2 straight games, and I personally don't think Atlanta's going to win another game this series.
Ooh, 4 in a row?
But Joel Embiid, man,
he's a monster.
On half of a knee, is putting up 35, 10, and 5, and he's shooting 53% from the field, decent, 81 from the free throw line, which is amazing for your center. And the guy is just playing monster basketball.
27 points in the last game, 40 points in the game before, 39 the game before, plus 16, plus 14, plus 13.
What more can you ask for?
Even in the loss, he was plus 13. He is playing like a superstar. He is a superstar. Not sure the health of the knee. The knee looks like it's fine. If you're dropping 40 points a night,
10.
if you're dropping 35 a night on a partially torn meniscus, I would love to see it when it was healthy and what he would do in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. One thing that I do want to bring up, which I think is very interesting, is that in the game where Ben Simmons only had 4 points, 7 assists, he was still plus 10 and held, I believe, Trae Young to a measly 21 points that game compared to 35 and 28 points in game 1 and 3. So Trae Young was minus 11 that game. Shot 14% from 3 and 38% from the field. So you can see Ben Simmons' focus, and the Sixers' focus should be on containing Trae Young. You don't have to guard him and put him on straps to the point where he's not going to score, but you make him shoot like that, the Atlanta Hawks are not going to go far, and they need their 3-point shooting. So once the 3-point shooting is gone, you pretty much have that game in the bag. He did have a better game, game 3, shot 50% from 3, dropped 28 points, but I think the Sixers' talent is just too much. And we've got Ben Simmons, Joel, and Tobias Harris, who's been huge for them. I'm sure you have his numbers up right now.
I told you again. This was on the same call with I forget his name.
Falco.
Not
Falco.
Flacco. That's the quarterback.
Flacco is A$AP Rocky.
Flacco is Joe Flacco.
Oh,
Baltimore
Flacco
Ravens.
too.
Yeah. But anyways,
Flacco Jordy is A$AP Rocky. But anyways, go ahead.
Damn, what was I saying?
Doc Rivers.
Tobias
Harris.
Tobias Harris. So yeah, we were on that show with Falco, the Falco takeaway. And I was like, man, Tobias Harris had his best season ever with Doc Rivers. And then he had a couple down years. And then Doc Rivers came back. And this guy has been playing lights out. And in this series, he's putting up 21, 8, and 4. He's clearly their second best player. It's not even close. And they are nowhere without this guy. Obviously, they're nowhere without Joel Embiid. But I think that with Joel Embiid there, even giving them 35 and 10, if Tobias Harris isn't doing what he's doing, shooting 60% from the field while he's doing it, I don't think that they're as good as they are. Because they have a lot of good players. Even Seth Curry's having a great series.
He is having a really good playoffs for them.
Tobias Harris is that number 2 guy, and he's reliable, and he's playing pretty efficiently. His 3-point shooting could get better, but Seth Curry's another guy putting up 60% from 3, 18 points a game. So they have options, man. They have Danny Green. They have Ben Simmons. They have Korkmaz, Milton, Tabuli. They got a bunch of guys, man. They got a bunch of guys. I think that this team is built to win. It'll just depend on the health of their guys. If Joel Embiid can be healthy and impose himself like this,
please, man.
There's no reason that they should not make it out of the East, given everything. I guess with Milwaukee, there should be an interesting matchup.
That will be an interesting matchup. There's no reason why they shouldn't get out of this series.
There's
no reason at all that
with a half Joel Embiid, they should get up just fine. I don't think that the Hawks will win another game. I don't see it.
I love that. To the last series we go, a series that has taken a huge turn for many reasons.
Crazy.
Started out 2-0, Brooklyn up. The Milwaukee Bucks have come
in
back.
embarrassing fashion.
Yes, blowout fashion. The Milwaukee Bucks have come back tied up 2-2. Game 3, James Harden goes down with a hamstring injury that's been lingering all season and for a while. Game 4, Kyrie Irving goes down with a nasty ankle injury. Didn't return. Went to the locker room, rolled his ankle when landing on Giannis's foot.
He's ruled out for Game 5.
That report came out today. This series has changed 360 degrees now. What went from being a possible 4-0 sweep, a possible 5-game series, has turned into Milwaukee Bucks are probably favored at this point.
Oh, 100%.
And
they're definitely the favorite at this point.
You're expecting Kevin Durant to carry a team of Blake Griffin, who he's good, but you're asking a lot for him to step up and fill the shoes of Kyrie Irving and James Harden. DeAndre Jordan, who doesn't play. A bunch of young Joe Harris, who he's a good basketball player, but once again, you're asking to fill some big shoes, man. And not that KD can't do it himself. I think he can get his. I'm not confident in everybody else getting anything. And the Milwaukee Bucks they've got the stars. It's 3-1 on stars now, right? So the playoff comes down to stars, comes down to slowing the game down. You can let KD score, guard everybody else. It's going to be very tough for the Brooklyn Nets to get this one out.
I just think it's a little funny because the world sets all these expectations on 36-year-old LeBron. AD goes down. How do they lose? How are you losing? You expect GOAT level stuff out of this guy.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant, who's been outspoken about wanting to be the best and always feeling disrespected, and now these two guys go down and he has nobody. No, I'm not saying you, but this is the sentiment now. He has nobody. We can't expect him to win. It's like, I don't care if you have nobody. Don't stack your team up with 3-4 max guys, and then when 2 of them go down, you complain about the lack of depth. That doesn't matter to me. Like, Kevin Durant is a superstar, and he wants to be considered one of the best 3 players in the league, but he doesn't catch the flack, even half the flack that a LeBron does. And everyone's like, LeBron catches the flack because he deserves it. Nobody deserves more flack than Kevin Durant. That guy welcomes all the flack in the world. Every single one of it. Flack, Flacco, Falco, every single one of them. So I don't want to hear it. Like, I know that I'm not expecting them to win. Milwaukee's not a cakewalk in the park.
At all.
So they're definitely going to, I think Milwaukee should definitely win them.
Milwaukee should.
I don't think Brooklyn should ever win another game in the series.
I agree with that one.
Assuming, none of those guys come back. But KD, I'm sorry, it sucks to suck, my dude. You stacked your team and 2 of them got injured, and that's what happens when you have a top heavy team and nobody else. Now Bruce Brown's gonna have to come out and give you 20.
It's not that they don't have anybody else. I think they do have good role players for the team that they constructed originally.
Spot up shooters. It's not create your own shot guys.
You take away Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton from the Bucks team, what's Giannis left with to carry to the finals?
For sure.
It's the same idea. So,
but you take AD off the Lakers with the 36-year-old LeBron. Yeah,
and we said the same thing about LeBron.
And then in the world, it's like, LeBron's washed. He is washed, bro. He's 36. He is washed.
It sucks for it to go down this way because I wanted to see Brooklyn in the finals. I maybe one of the very few people that did want to see Brooklyn in the finals because I want to see how far this team can go. I want to see how this team constructed can go. If one-on-one basketball could work, if it could win. It sucks to leave it up to injury because now, in my opinion, let's look at the playoffs as a whole. Now Brooklyn is out. If the guys don't come out, don't come back healthy, Brooklyn is out.
Somebody brought up a really great point, former player, that said if you get injured and you don't come back, that's how you know that player is really hurt. So
of course,
both of them didn't return. I think even if they throw them out there, it'll be a force.
Yeah, and they're not the type to force, especially Kyrie's not the type to force. He's taking any day off he wants to. So when he's actually hurt, he's definitely not going to try to play. Yeah. It sucks that this is the way it went. Now I'm looking at the teams that are in the playoff run still, in the championship run still. I'm like, this is as wide open as it has been for a very, very long time. There's no guessing
that
who could win.
That being said, though, there are about 3 or 4 teams that are as knotted as it can get. When you think of a Utah, a Phoenix, Milwaukee, Philly.
That's what I'm saying.
Those are 4
Any team
powerhouses.
Any team can take it though. It looks like we have it. It's not like the recent years where we've had Cavs, Warriors, or whatever. You know what
LeBron,
teams are going to take it. LeBron, Steph. You know what teams are taking it or are going to take it. These 4 teams that are going to be left in the conference finals, if it's not Brooklyn in there, I don't know who's going to win. It's going to come down to strategy. It's going to come down to assignments. It's going to come down to coaching. It's going to come down to, can a team withstand the pressure of playing in the finals, playing in the conference finals? So this is as wide open as it's going to get, and it's gonna look nice. It's going to be 2 more great series on both sides. Both sides? No. Yeah.
Well, there's still
3 technically
3
after this round. And it's exciting. I go back and forth. I'm like, yeah, Phoenix looks like they can take it. They've been playing really well. But oh wait, like Milwaukee they've got 3 stars.
I'm not sold
Sixers.
on. Phoenix is the only team for me that has been from start to finish
played well,
dominant in every single game.
Exactly.
But that being said, they played AD with less Lakers, and they played Jamal-less Denver. So you can't get way too ahead of yourself. Yeah. Milwaukee looked like crap. Now they look amazing. I want to just say one thing about Giannis. The last 2 games, Giannis put up 33 and 14 and 34 and 12. Shot 44%. Shot 45% in the first game, 54% in the second game. The only knock I have on him, and this is the knock that everyone's giving him, is that he's 2 for 13 over those 2 games from the 3-point line.
Shoot 20%, 12 for 13%.
Why are you shooting 13 threes in 2 games, my man? You can't even shoot free throws.
Let everybody else shoot the threes.
And the thing is, the analysts ask, are like, why? Like, dude, you are unstoppable going to the rim.
Absolutely.
You're averaging over 30 points a game going to the rim, and you decide 13 threes is what I'm going to do. So that's my only knock on him. Stop shooting the threes. You have weapons there to shoot them for you.
Exactly.
And I think that's going to, how much of that is coaching though? How much of that is Bud just not saying anything? How is this guy shooting 8 threes and then 5 threes the next game? You went 1 for 8 and the next game you shoot 5 threes.
It definitely does have some sort of responsibility on Bud. Giannis also has to be just cognizant. I mean, first game, you can't stop a player from shooting threes if they're just going to go up and pull up and shoot it. And I'm sure Giannis is given a lot of threes to take, and they're going to give it to him because he shoots a poor percentage, and he's going to want to shut them up. So it's for sure some of it is on coaching. But when he's your star player and putting up buckets, putting up 30 a night, and he wants to shoot a few threes, fine. 13 threes is a bit excessive. Maybe bring it down to 7. I'll be okay if you shoot 3 threes a game, 6 threes over total over 2 games. I'll be okay if you do that. But he's got to focus because those 13 possessions are going to be important down the road when there's teams that are going to really capitalize and make you pay for it, and teams that aren't depleted. So hopefully he watches that tape. Hopefully he sees the room they're giving him and he realizes why they're giving him that room. And hopefully he comes back game 5 and he's ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I don't expect Brooklyn to win another game. They do have Kevin Durant, but that's just about it. Their pieces are so built around those 2 guys, it's not even funny.
3, yeah.
I meant more like Kyrie and Harden because those guys are the ones that like KD can play off anybody, but people like Kyrie can't play off anybody. He needs people to play off him.
Right. Okay.
So I think that they're building that team for guys like. So when Kyrie's done finishing his 30 seconds of dribbling, he can find someone at the end of the shot clock that's going to bang
a 3,
the shot and be ready to make it. So when you have now a bunch of these guys who are 3 and D by the definition, now being forced to put the ball on the floor, it's like, I don't know if Joe Harris can create his shot.
No, I wouldn't underestimate because I know Joe Harris can put the ball on the floor and attack the rim. I've seen him multiple times do that multiple occasions throughout the year. Bruce, I'm not too confident. You haven't seen enough of it.
Yeah.
Be nice. BG, you're gonna have to do something proper, and he's gonna have to step up and play like an all-star and play like he used to be able to play. Once again, we haven't seen it. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been required to do it, so it'll be very interesting if he does. If he does, Detroit. Hilarious.
It was very interesting though because first of all, that Detroit thing is so annoying and they need to find a way to never ever allow that. At least take half their buyout money if they're like evidently, dogging
Tanking
it.
They're tanking, but for themselves.
But a couple of days ago, a report came out that Spencer Dinwiddie was aiming to come back in the finals.
Yes.
They dropped a video of him working out, which is insane. Like, he looks amazing. Great, I'm happy. We went from Brooklyn is the guaranteed champion to they're not even going to get past this round in maybe 12 hours. All because Kyrie got injured. And at this point, the finals is not even next round, it's the round after. So Dinwiddie almost becomes a non-factor at this point because we need people now.
Right. They have to make it to that round.
It's tough, man. That's just the way she goes, like you said. KD, you won 2 championships handed to you. It's just the way she goes. So not everything in life comes easy. Yeah. And he's probably shook now because he's like, a struggle in the playoffs? What does that mean?
What do I do? I don't know.
I have to do everything? What does that mean? But yeah, man, I think that's about it. That wraps it up. So we do have those series left, and then we got the conference finals. So we'll have 4 teams left. I'm excited to see who Phoenix faces. It's still pretty early. I want to say it's 2-1 with Game 4 tonight. So if it becomes 2-2, it's going to be extended even more. So Phoenix could take that rest, and I mean, until then, we'll continue to come back at you with all the content.
Before we wrap up, congratulations to you, sir. Making the announcement. One of us is a Faedaway father.
What did I do?
One of us is a Faedaway father, and it's not me. So congratulations on the announcement of you and Ann expecting.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hopefully, you can raise a lovely young Raptors fan, and maybe
a young Raptors player.
Maybe he can hit a shot just like that one day in the league. Who knows? He or she can hit a shot like that one day in the league. But congratulations to you. That being said, follow us, ladies and gentlemen, on Spotify.
By the way, speaking of my children, Ted, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Sorry, go ahead.
Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, anywhere you catch your podcast, we'll be there. Also on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere you DM somebody, we'll be there as well. We'll come back at you next week.